Hello, Internet. Welcome to another episode of I Fucked Up So You Don't Have to. Today I'm going to be talking about finals, final exams, final essays, and all of those lovely final things that we have to do at the end of the term. I probably should have done this a couple of weeks ago, and I know I've kind of been gone on social media, but that's because I'm smack in the middle of my own finals weeks. So we're all in the same boat here. It sucks for everybody. With that in mind, here is what not to do when studying for finals. Number one, not creating a study guide. I never did this. I never knew how to do this. In high school, sometimes teachers would give us study guides and say, oh, fill these out, and I would fill out, like, I'd fill in the blanks and I'd know what to study from there. But when I got to university and I was studying for exams, I never knew what to do. Honestly, I would use other people's study guides from our little makeshift study groups, and I do really well off of those study guides, but I couldn't make them myself. And I really like to say how I figured out how to do this, but I never did. My last year of university, I would have professors who would give us lists of things that we needed to know. So I would fill out detailed notes for all of those things and outline all the possible essays. But again, that was pre-made. I never figured out how to make a study guide. Study guides suck, man. Number two, studying the night before. I always did this thing. They tell you to study over a period of time, but I could never retain that information. I've talked a lot about doing what works for you and figuring out the groove that you get into. For me, it's studying the night before, and that's supposed to be a really, really bad habit, but I just couldn't retain any of the information that I studied a week ago. I'd have to look it back over the night before. It's just, I work better when I cram. It's horrible, but I do. And when I say the night before, I literally mean the night before. I wouldn't start studying until like 7 o'clock, which brings us into number three. Not sleeping. I don't know why I decided to do this. I think it was just the laziness of, studying the night before. But I would start at 7, 8 o'clock on my study guide, fill it out as detailed as possible until I was done. What ended up happening was I would only get like 2 or 3 hours of sleep. That's horrible. I would hate myself for the rest of the day, but for the actual exam, it ended up being really good because my body was running on adrenaline like you would after like a power nap. That's how it felt. So I'd get up, be like super energized and complete the exam and ace it, and then just go home and I never learned. I really don't recommend it, but I do have to say that it does work for me, so if it works for you, go for it. Moving on to final essays, and we get to number four, not researching. I have to admit, for the longest time, I was definitely a do everything the night before sort of person. But when you're getting to final essays, a lot of the time it's something that it's a big deal. You're researching from a lot of different sources and you've got to refer to a couple of different things. So what I would do is identify the different types of research. Maybe that's research I have to go to the library for, maybe it's research I can do online, or articles versus books, or just split it up into sections. For me, I'm getting a lit degree, so I take one day to look at the text I'm looking at, and then a day or two to look at the criticism. And I split that up like that, and I research over multiple days, but then I take notes on everything. Take notes of the page numbers. It's the best. And yeah, it's time consuming, but it really helps when we get to number five, outlining. You know the drill. I've talked about outlining a lot on this channel because I love it. Quick anecdote for one of my essays for this term. It's a 4,000 word essay. My outline was 3,300 words. I love outlining. I had to cut most of it, but I had it down and I could have used it. I've talked about this before, but I never used to outline, and then one day something clicked and I was suddenly an outlining fiend, resulting in my 3,300 word outline. But this is where your notes come in handy. If you have all of the page numbers down, you can just put out a preliminary outline, so your intro, first body thing, split that up into sections, and then just slide the important quotes into the section they go to. Then if you already have basically what the quote says or the quote written down in your notes, you never have to refer to the books again, or if you just have the page number written down, all you need to do is go back, find the quote, and figure out what you're doing, but you already have it in the section. You don't have to worry about, oh, now that I have the essay written, where do I slot the criticism? Number five, don't wait to write the essay till the day of. I have another anecdote. Look at my anecdotes, I'm doing so well. I had a friend over one time and we were writing an essay for a class, and both of us waited till the last minute. We hadn't read the book. The essay was due at 11:59. We were panicking, writing as fast as we possibly can, and we got our essays in 11:58. Yeah, It was not a fun day. Don't do that thing. So what I say is give yourself 2 days. Split your essay up into half because then you won't feel panicked about it. Just do it. It will make you feel so much better. And now people who tell me that they're writing the essay the day of just gives me so much anxiety because I've been there and it sucks. Like, it really sucks. Also, a quick hack on this. I don't know if this will help you, but this is what helps me. I write directly on the outline. I turn my entire outline red and then I write directly on that document, and then every time I write down something from the outline, I delete the red bit so that it becomes more black and less red the longer it goes on. I don't know if that will help you, but it helps me. Number 7, and finally, editing. How did I fuck up on this one? I just didn't do it. I just sort of said, My last maybe 2 years of university, I would send my essays on to my mum and just say, edit this, and then I'd basically just do whatever she said and get on with it. But this past year, I've been giving myself a full day to edit. So recently it's been the day before the deadline, so that the day of the deadline I don't have to worry about anything else except for submitting it. But it could be the day of the deadline if you're just running out of time or you have other stuff to do. But I give myself an entirely separate day to edit, which gives me space between when I've written it and when I've edited it. And that makes things so much better. I have this essay that I wrote last year. It was a 10-page paper and I ran out of time to finish editing it because I have bad habits and I did it the night before. I edited the first 7 pages, and if you go back and read it, the first 7 pages are flawless and the last 3 pages are a mess. Point is, edit your papers. Just do it. And that's what not to do during finals. I do have another quick finals hack before I go because this is what helped me. I also work really well this way. One of my very good friends doesn't work like this at all, so it might not work for you, but it was really helpful for me. Last year, what I did was I printed out an entire calendar for my last month or so of the term, figured out my due dates and exam dates, and split everything up. So, on this day I need to study for this, on this day I need to do research for this. Sometimes it was multiple things on the same day, but I split everything up over the course of that week or couple of weeks leading up to it. And having 1 or 2 things to do a day and not worrying about doing it all at once really, really helped me. If you're not a sort of person who works better when you split everything up into set days, that's fine, but it worked really well for me and it honestly changed the way I study and the way I write essays, and it made everything so much less stressful. Other than that, that's it. I know it was pretty chill, and because, you know, finals week really sucks. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you like it. I'm going to try and be back on social media starting next week. I'll put my social media down below. It's pretty empty for the past week or so, but I'll put it down there anyway. And I post new videos on Thursdays. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!